In the annals of criminal history, few names evoke as much fascination and intrigue as El Chapo, the notorious Mexican drug lord whose life story reads like a Hollywood thriller. The audacity and sophistication of his breakout defied all expectations and left authorities dumbfounded. Within the clandestine realm of organized crime, reality often wears a deceptive guise. When attempting to comprehend the significance of his escape, it is imperative that we initially go into the life of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, a guy who ascended from a poor background to become one of the most powerful and feared drug lords throughout history. El Chapo was born into poverty in the rough highlands of Sinaloa, Mexico. He traversed the hazardous world of drug trafficking with cunning and cruelty, constructing an empire that spanned continents. El Chapo was a notorious drug trafficker, but it was not just his criminal empire that captured the world's attention. It was his audacious escape from prison that truly elevated him to legendary status. Puente Grande Prison in Mexico is the most fortified, with 2 guards for each inmate. It was dedicated to dangerous criminals and drug gang leaders, making it a military base. El Chapo, the most famous and dangerous drug lord in Mexican history, was imprisoned there. After being arrested in 1993, he managed to run his empire through bribery, bribing officers and guards worth millions. He lived the Caney's life in prison, receiving alcohol, women, and food. Damaso Lopez, the deputy chief of security, facilitated his life, providing him with a house, car, gifts, and a salary, allowing him to do whatever he wanted. El Chapo, a notorious drug lord, was able to run his gang and develop a new method of drug trafficking within prison. He hired engineers and specialists to dig tunnels, targeting the U.S. as it was the most profitable place for them. This allowed them to increase their smuggling rate and make $20 million per month. Despite Mexico's refusal to extradite drug gang leaders like El Chapo to the U.S., they continued to demand his extradition and criminals like him. In 2001, the Mexican Supreme Court proposed a new law that would allow the extradition of Mexican criminals to America. El Chapo felt in danger and decided to plan an escape. He bribed his assistant, Damoso, and a prison worker named Chito to help him escape. On January 19, 2001, El Chapo and Chito successfully escaped from Puente Grande prison. The pursuit was delayed due to the presence of local police in El Chapo's pocket. Federal police, hard to bribe, began the pursuit, and El Chapo was eventually taken to 4 different locations to avoid being tracked. El Chapo was surrounded by police cars and motorcycles while driving in Mexico City. The police reassured him that they were there for his protection, and he took a deep breath and felt relieved that the corrupt police were not able to reach him. They escorted him to one of the gang's safe houses, demonstrating the resilience and strength of El Chapo during his time in prison. El Chapo, a notorious drug lord, gained immense popularity in Mexico after his 2001 breakout, making him a legend. Despite Mexican authorities' efforts to capture him, they were unable to reach him. El Chapo remained free for 14 years, moving between secret safe houses in isolated areas. His empire grew, and the Sinaloa cartel became the largest drug cartel in history. El Chapo and his gang fought violently in northern Mexico, turning cities into war zones. In 2014, Mexican intelligence and its American counterparts pursued a new strategy to arrest El Chapo. They tracked down his sons, wives, and close associates who were known to him. They managed to hack the encrypted communication network used by El Chapo and his gang, identifying his location and moving him to 4 different locations. El Chapo was surrounded by police cars and motorcycles, but he felt relieved that the police were there for his protection. El Chapo's empire expanded, and he used to smuggle cocaine to America worth billions of dollars annually. The Sinaloa cartel became the largest drug cartel in history, surpassing the metal in the cartel. El Chapo and his gang fought violently in the northern cities of Mexico, turning them into war zones and causing mass destruction. El Chapo destroyed all gangs, making him the largest and sole dominator of the drug trafficking movement from Mexico to America. In 2014, Mexican intelligence and its American counterparts pursued a new strategy to track down El Chapo's associates, including his sons, wives, and close associates. They managed to hack the encrypted communication network used by El Chapo and his gang, identifying his location in a house in Sinaloa. On February 17, 2014, Mexican special forces and DEA agents surrounded the house and smothered it. El Chapo's assistant entered his room, revealing the Mexican army was at the door. The forces intensified their beatings and fortified the house, resulting in the break-in of the door. El Chapo was nervous and anxious about his extradition to America, and he sent letters to his men asking about the process. In June 2015, El Chapo received news that the tunnel was almost ready, and he chose July 4th as the day of his escape. On the anniversary of Independence Day, El Chapo planned to send an insulting message to the Americans by escaping from his prison. He had a deep hatred for America and knew that American authorities were always asking for his extradition. However, his men couldn't make it to the tunnel, so they postponed the operation. On July 11, 2015, El Chapo broke out of his prison, where he spent almost 16 months. El Chapo watched a comedy series on his tablet while waiting for signals from his men. At 8 a.m., he entered the shower space, the only hidden place from surveillance cameras in his cell. He then went down through a ladder to the underground tunnel, where he met with his wife's brother, who pointed him to the cart. El Chapo drove along the tunnel, reaching a brick building where a quad bike was waiting for him. The guards in the prison took 40 minutes to discover the escape. El Chapo took precautions, traveling long distances and hiding in one of his safe houses in Sinaloa. This caused embarrassment to Mexican authorities, who had just boasted of his arrest as the greatest achievement in the war against drugs and crime. The Mexican authorities were supported by the Americans, providing them with newly developed technologies for tracking and monitoring Mexican intelligence. The next day, a convoy of 3 cars arrived, and the agents could not identify the person inside the car. Mexican intelligence kept eavesdropping on their calls and monitoring the house until they were almost sure El Chapo was inside. In 2016, Mexican forces stormed El Chapo's house, resulting in a violent armed conflict. The special forces, backed by DEA agents, were not found, and El Chapo escaped through an underground tunnel. He and his close assistants stole a car while fighting against the special forces. Security forces were spread out in the area, and El Chapo was arrested and sent to Altiplano prison again. El Chapo began planning an escape operation, sending messages to his gang members. They believed that this was the only solution to escape, similar to how Mexican authorities were working on his extradition procedures to America. El Chapo had remained a fugitive for 14 years, escaping from Puente Grande in 2001, Altiplano Prison, and Altiplano Prison. In January 2017, El Chapo was tied up and taken to a helicopter in the prison yard. He was then taken to a special plane to New York. After being taken to a special plane, El Chapo was taken to New York and tried to comprehend what was happening. He was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment in 2019. Currently, El Chapo is in a prison called ADEX, or Florence Supermax, located in Colorado, USA. This prison houses inmates deemed extremely dangerous, with limited interaction with guards. He spends 23 hours a day in his cell and only allows 1 hour of outside time to indoor places under strict surveillance. In the end, El Chapo's story serves as a cautionary tale for future generations, reminding us of the enduring power of justice and the resilience of those who uphold it. It is a story of triumph over adversity, of perseverance in the face of insurmountable odds, and of the unwavering commitment to the pursuit of truth and righteousness. And though his reign of terror may have come to an end, the legacy of El Chapo will continue to echo through the annals of history, a testament to the enduring struggle between good and evil in the world. The story of El Chapo's legendary escape from prison is more than just a tale of criminal ingenuity. It is a window into the dark underbelly of the global drug trade. It is a reminder of the lengths to which some will go in pursuit of power and wealth, and the consequences that inevitably follow. And what harm they cause to the whole world is invincible. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you find this story interesting, this will inspire us to bring more of such exceptional content.